So you're selling B2B insurance. You've just received a load of leads. You've just started a new campaign that's delivering new leads to you, or you're purchasing leads off of a third-party provider. Things are going well. The volume's there. The intent looks clear from the details that you're receiving, but none of the leads are actually picking up. You're calling them and no one's answering. You're calling and it goes to voicemail. You don't get any return from the voicemail. You send a couple of emails to them and nobody responds to them. You then instantly think that marketing doesn't work, your lead provider sucks, and you're really confused on why none of these leads are picking up the phone and want to have the conversation with you. So in today we're going to cover how to actually correctly work B2B leads for an insurance company. Now, what has prompted me to make this video? It's actually off the back of one of our most recent clients and a conversation that we have had to have with them. So we only work with established insurance businesses, helping them grow their lead generation campaigns and scaling up lead generation campaigns. And we do a lot of pre-qualifications and targeting to allow the inquiries and the lead generation models that we implement to be able to target people in the right way. Now, we're super confident that the quality of leads is there, but they're saying that they're calling all these leads, no one's picking up, they're leaving a load of voicemails and not getting responses. So that really prompted me to take a call with them, have a further conversation to really understand exactly their processes, their workflows, and how they're even attempting to get in front of people, which prompted me to make this video because this is not a small broker. This is a big business with lots of staff members, lots of moving parts in it. And the fact that they were not working them correctly really made me think to myself, there's probably more likely to be more than one company that is dealing with this. So that was the prompt of the video. So let's just quickly explain something, because what I have found from previous conversations with a lot of individuals and a lot of clients of ours is they're under the assumption that if somebody submits their information to you, they're pretty much bought in, ready to buy. So what I mean by that is somebody sees, let's just say, an advert, they go onto Google, they type something in, some specific keyword that's relevant to the insurance they're looking for, and then they come across your brand, they click on it, they like the details on there, and they prompt and fill out a form. You would assume that off the back of that, that person is sort of 99% prepared, ready to go. Well, I hate to break it to you, the reality of this is that when somebody submits their information to you, all that does is just qualifies you to be in the running to now contact that person, and you have to be able to do it correctly. What most people think when they receive an inquiry through is that person just wants to speak to them, they've got the credit card ready, they're ready to buy a policy. The reality is when that person submits that information through, that is the highest level of interest. If we think about an interest spectrum, at the time of, this is when they make the search, and then if you think about this as time and then an interest level, okay? Initially when they make that inquiry, their interest level goes up to 100%. So there is really enough interest in that moment to be able to take action and move forward. Now, as soon as somebody then lands on your thank you page, so someone lands on a thank you page to be able to move forward, that level of interest quickly starts to drop at a declining rate as more time passes. Now that time can be over the course of minutes, days and hours. So the goal is, well, ideally is to be able to get in front of them straight away. But for example, if an inquiry comes through at 9:30, you're not going to be calling that until the next day. The problem is by the time you actually start to work it, you get into the day, you make coffee, you get behind your desk, you're realistically more down here on this interest level. So how do we make sure that the inquiries that we have through, we're working them correctly to be able to put ourselves in the best position possible to be able to actually get in front of these individuals? So I've got a bit of an example here. So this is just a random example that we have found. This is not legitimate information across the mobile number, but this is a legitimate email. We can discover how we have actually found this out. But this would be, for example, the type of inquiry that you would have through, right? You'd have the person's name, you'd have maybe their business email, you'd obviously have their mobile number, you'd also have a date of birth. In this example, just not added one on, but you'd also have some other pre-qualifying questions, right? You maybe have the company name if you haven't asked for that. There's other pre-qualifying questions based on what would class this as, a B2B lead. But this is just a random example so I can show you. So what do most people do? Well, most people, they will call this mobile number. Okay, so they will dial the mobile number out, might call it once, call it twice, call it 3 times, maybe leave 2 voicemails. They then might also send maybe a text message. Most of you aren't even doing that, but maybe you do that, and then you'll send an email. Now, what most of you do here is if this mobile number, for example, has been put in incorrect, or there's a typo in it, or the person has intentionally not gave you the mobile number because they're thinking they'll deal over email, then you might even just send just the email on its own and wonder why nobody's getting in front of you and wonder why nobody's contacting you back. So let me show you exactly how to work these. So on the assumption that you call this number and it doesn't pick up, on the assumption that you leave a voicemail and it doesn't respond, on the assumption that you send a text and they don't reply, and on the assumption that you send an email. So that should really be the absolute basic things you're doing. Calling the number should be the absolute basic. These 3 things or 4 things here should be just your prerequisites, your default. Every single lead gets worked that way. But how do we actually work a lead correctly to be able to increase our contact rate? Well, the great thing here is we have a lot of information now. So one of the things we can do now, we can assume that this person has submitted their information because they are interested, right? They had a peak level of interest at one stage. So we're now qualified. They've gave us permission to reach out to them. This is now not a cold call. This is not a cold outreach. This person has given us permission to go after them and gain their attention. That is what has happened when they've submitted their information to you. So what can we do with this? Right, well, we can go into Google and we can put in maybe just the name and the email, right? So we can put Brian McDonald and we can put Fullspa, okay? So we can go into Google and we can find, okay, so we've got Fullspa. We've actually got this person here. So we've got the person's website. We've got the person's LinkedIn. Really interesting. Okay, so we can go onto the website and we can understand, okay, he's a new CEO role. This is great. This is a B2B inquiry. CEO of the business. This is him. This is a photo of him. This is really great. Okay, so we now understand what the person looks like. We now understand that the person is real, and we also can find their business. This is amazing. This is the next step of the things we want to be doing. We can also find this person on LinkedIn. Okay, so we can go onto LinkedIn. We can find this individual. They're the CEO. We know that's right. Hasn't got a profile picture, but we know that's the business. We know he's the CEO. So we know that this is also his correct LinkedIn account. So there's a few things that we can do. On the basis that maybe you can't do that, there's some other also things that you can do. So for example, you would have a date of birth. So what you can do is you can just Google the name. You can go onto Companies House. You can put the name in. You can put in the company name onto Google and find their public records on the government website. For example, we would have that person's date of birth. So we could qualify to see, let's say we can't find their company name. Let's just say we cannot find their LinkedIn. How do we still find that individual? Well, we can put Brian McDonald into Company House and search him as an officer. We can then also, because of the date of birth would be given to us, again, I've just added an example, but let's just say that we have the person's date of birth. We can then match that on the Company House records. Okay, so we, for example, would know that he is born in December 1267. So we might have a date of birth, for example, like the 1st of December 67. Well, if we have a person's name, we have a date of birth that is very the same, and we can also find a company name, we can then actually actively go into search that company name. So for example, if we get an email that is maybe an @gmail.com, we can put the person's name and search by their date of birth into Company House, find their company name, then go onto Google and search that. Once we have the client's company name, again, the CEO of the business has given us permission to contact him. He has given us the permission to actively seek him now as an individual. So in instances, I mean, this is quite a large business by the looks of it, but you know, smaller businesses, smaller B2B, we now have the landline number. We can call this directly. Okay, we will speak to the receptionist and we'll have the conversation with them. Hi, we're just looking to speak to Brian. Yeah, who is it? Yeah, it's just the insurance company that he's requested a call back from. Getting in contact with him. This is the best number we have available for him. Okay, no problem. We'll get you passed through. Where are you calling from? You explain. The person's familiar with that because they submitted the information to you. So this is more ways to be able to work it. Okay, you've got additional emails that you can actually send outreach to, info, trying to get in contact with him. On the basis that you don't have the right email or you're trying to find an alternative email, we do now have the person's LinkedIn. So we can connect with them, we can send them a message, we can outreach to them on that platform as well. We can use something like Apollo.io, which is an extension and a software that you can sign up to free, and you can actually grab the person's email. So in this case, it is going to be the same one, for example, that he would have given us, but we can actively seek and search for the email. So let's just say we have a fake email or we have an Outlook or a Gmail, and we can actually find their LinkedIn. We can then now search for their company name as well. So there's a lot of ways that you can do that. So what should you really be doing? Right, well, what you should be doing is finding the company name. You should be looking for alternative mobile numbers. You should be looking for company mobiles and landline numbers. You should be looking for their LinkedIn. One of the things that you can also do is go onto the mobile communication apps that we use nowadays. You can actively put that mobile number into WhatsApp as a new contact. and then it will prompt you with somebody with a username. It'll prompt someone with a avatar. So for example, a profile picture. If that links to someone with a profile picture, we know that mobile number is legitimate, and we also know that person is now on WhatsApp, so we can send outreach to them on there. We can leave a voice note, we can record a small video to introduce yourself, you can text them over on WhatsApp. So the whole point of this video is really to think outside of the box. Let's just say you've got this person, okay, so this is the individual that is just submitted their information to you, okay? Let's say they've gone onto Google and they've done this search and they've gone your company and they've also gone another company. Okay, there's two individual searches that have done. I've opened up two tabs, they've put a request on both of them. Let's just say company number one does the call, the voicemail, the email, and then you contact that person over WhatsApp. You do a quick voice note over on WhatsApp. You connect to them on LinkedIn, and your LinkedIn is established. You've got profile picture, you've got proof that you're helping people on there, and you send them a message on LinkedIn, and then you actually call their business directly and contact them through there. Which do you think one is going to resonate better? What do you think, as far as this busy business owner who has now just contacted you, what do you think that they are going to think about the effort that you've put in to be able to contact them? They're instantly going to, praise you. They're going to be appreciative of the time and effort that you've put into outreach, and 9 times out of 10 they're going to go with you versus alternative options. So the whole point and the takeaway here is B2B leads are not just dial aimlessly expecting that person to pick up. You have to actively go and seek these individuals. And because they're business owners, because they're B2B leads, there's always a trace for them online. They have profiles. They're out there. They're publicly got profiles. They've got articles about them, there's things in the news about them, there is company records, there are Facebook pages, there are LinkedIn, there are Twitter. There's so many different ways, because business owners, they put themselves out there. We want to get noticed, we want to grow our businesses, and we want to be able to be established and seen by others. This is the most easiest way to work B2B inquiries, and in my opinion, B2B inquiries are some of the utmost easiest to work that you can possibly do, because all you have to do is just put a little bit of time, a little bit of effort into just trying and thinking outside of the box. If you're under the belief that we'll just call them 3 or 4 times, a couple of times a day, if you're under the belief that we'll just send them a few emails, we're going to sit back because that person is super interested in speaking to us, you're going to consistently have low contact rates, you're going to overpay for the customer because ultimately the conversion rates will be less, and you're going to constantly spend more out on leads than you will be receiving in policy sales. This one change we have seen go from 20 to 30% contact rate upwards of 60 to 70% contact rates. Give it a go. If you're not working leads this way, send this video to whoever needs to see it. Send it to your staff, send it to the salespeople, allow them to start thinking out the box. It's not a cold inquiry. If you call the business directly after the fact that this person has contacted you, they have given you the permission to do that. And the worst thing that's going to happen is they're going to say, please don't call here again. Don't be afraid to work these leads. Put some effort in, and I guarantee you'll see such a significant difference. Now, that being said, if you're interested in actually generating leads so you can have this problem, if you want to be able to generate inquiries to be able to work people, you're interested in exactly how we can help you generate more inquiries, that's going to be the first link below. You can actually connect to me on LinkedIn. You can find me online very simply. Hope you found some value to this video, a little bit different to the normal stuff that we post here, but I feel that it's going to be super value to some people. Hope you found some value. Appreciate again you watching. Like, comment, subscribe, do all that good YouTube stuff. Thanks for watching.